And now we look at the bones of the chest. And the bones of the chest are within this region here, the thoracic region of the skeletal system. And so we see that we have the ribs, we have the sternum, and we do have the vertebral column that is continuing here within the thoracic region as well. So we will we'll review that. Okay, so what are the bones of the trunk or the torso? That's first of all thoracic, which is the chest or pulmonary trunk, and this consists of the sternum, ribs, and the thoracic vertebrae. And so this is an elastic bony cage. This is the ribs that serve as a protective framework for the heart, lungs, and other internal organs. And that is the pulmonary trunk. And it has the sternum, ribs, and the thoracic vertebrae. That is the vertebral column that is running in our back. And in that region, it has certain vertebrae, and that's called the thoracic vertebrae. Then we are going to be looking at the ribs. We all know what ribs are, and those are the 12 pairs of bones forming the wall of the thorax. Scapula is also known as the shoulder blade, the large flat triangular bone of the shoulder. There are two scapulas, left and right, shoulder blades. The sternum is the center, called the breastbone, the flat bone that forms the ventral or the front support of the ribs. So we have our, let's say, our ribs like this, and then this is the center, the front support, the connection point. Then we have the clavicle, also known as the collarbone, the bone that joins the sternum and scapula. So let's take a look at the thorax, the chest or pulmonary trunk consisting of the sternum, ribs, and the thoracic vertebrae. It is the elastic bony cage that serves as a protection for the heart, the lungs, the other organs that are within this region here. And so this is the trunk area, and so that area is called the thorax. First of all, the part of that thorax, we have the ribs and 12 pairs of bones forming the wall of the thorax. So this is, and part of that we see that we have the sternum and the ribs. So sternum is right in the center, and then we have the ribs on the sides. Okay, then we look at scapula, also known as shoulder blades. And so those are the scapula here. These are in the back of the rib cage, and those function as a support to the movement of the arms. Then we have the sternum, which we talked about, that's in the center, and that connects. It's a connection point for the ribs. We do see the ribs have several connection points here, allowing flexibility and a sort of a shock absorbing system that is there. So sternum is part of that. Is also known as the breastbone, the flat bone that forms the ventral or the front portion of the ribs. And this is a whole thing is a shock absorbing system to protect lungs and hearts and so forth. Then we look at clavicle, also known as collarbone. So these are the clavicle are the collarbones, and they join the sternum and scapula. So the sternum and the clavicle is connected to the sternum and also to the collarbones, which are the scapula. And this comprises, again, the bones of the chest. So a basic review of that is that we have the thoracic cavity right here, the trunk area, and it is lined with ribs, the 12 of those. And then in the center is a sternum. The function of this, along with these little joints in there, is to create a shock absorbing system. On top of that, to support the movement and to create some support, we have the scapula, which is the shoulder blades. And then connecting the shoulder blades to the sternum is our, what we talk about as collarbone, which is the clavicle.